Are they coming with like their families already, or it's more common for them to come and find partners here?
Okay, sure. So what we're seeing, and this is a mixed bag. Think about it. You're going shopping, different shopping bags, right? You're going to furnish a new apartment. You need a lot of stuff. People who are coming from Europe to Paraguay, they're coming for different reasons. Some people are coming with families. A lot of the people, what they're doing is they're getting the residence permit. There aren't really any real attachments to it other than checking in every year. And some people might think, that's quite a commitment flying to Paraguay every year. Well, there's got to be some expectation of you. What people are doing is they're preparing themselves to set up a life in Paraguay. That's an option. Or what they're doing is they're moving there already permanently. Like there are a lot of people that are doing that because they're fed up. Think about it. If you've been living, Aurora, you've been living this repressive environment for a long time, and you're like, you got the water up here, like you got to put your head up like this because you can't breathe anymore, right? And that's not a pleasant feeling, right? If you're drowning, it's not a pleasant feeling, right? You've got to do something, right? You've got to make sure you put your head above the water. You don't want to drown. Drowning is no fun. So a lot of people are drowning. In Europe, a lot of people are drowning in terms of taxes, in terms of living costs. Like people are getting killed. Like this time is probably the worst time that I've ever experienced in my life in terms of like the polarization between rich and poor. They're pulling in opposite directions. They really are. And because of that, it's like we're losing the middle class. So the middle class are the people who are moving to Paraguay. The poor people, they aren't moving. They don't have the resources. They don't really have the thinking, they don't really know what's going on here, or they're so part of the government system where they're like, I'm still going to believe everything the government tells me because the government's been right in the past. Sure, the government has been right in the past, but right now the government's being wrong a lot. So we're losing the middle class in Europe more, and it's more obvious than ever. I see it here in Tenerife too. I'm just going to jump in here and make a little statement about I actually want the government to step in here and regulate the real estate market better. I don't know why they're not doing that. Yes, it's part of the European Union. Yes, European citizens can come here, purchase property. They can do all these phenomenal things. But how good is that when the locals can't afford to live anymore? Like rental prices here have gone up, depending on the area where you're looking at, between, I would say, 30, 40 to over 100% in just a few years. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's crazy. You know what hasn't happened? The salaries haven't gone up. They're stagnant. Yeah, they've maybe increased a few percent, but if all of a sudden an apartment that you used to pay 300-400 euros for is 800 euros and your salary has increased maybe 5% or 7%, how can you afford to live? You can't. And so what people do is they move further away. They move into more towns and like just more outside the city where housing is cheaper and where the tourists or people like me, I'm part of the problem. I am because I own an apartment here. So technically I stole something that a local person could have had for less money, so, but I only have one here. I know people that have 5 or 6. The question is, where is the limit, where you say, okay, and maybe that should be in a country like Paraguay too. And maybe it's not that clear yet. I mean, the problem isn't really that big yet where people would say, hey, okay, government got to step in here, regulate foreigners. A foreigner can only own one piece of land, one piece of property. We're not there yet, but it could happen in the future. And I wholeheartedly believe that the government should regulate this because what's more important than anything to the government are the locals, like the health of the locals. The locals can afford life. Like the outsiders coming in with deeper pockets, they can purchase. And this is happening everywhere. And that's why I'm saying like we're being polarized, right? We're losing the middle class. But we have to take care of our workers. We have to take care of our employees because they are the wheels, right? They're bringing us. Like we need these people to be part of our economy than anybody else. Like we need entrepreneurs, we need innovators, but we also need a workforce. And we need to treat our workforce like gold. We need to do that. This is like a big reason, right? The Europeans that are moving to Paraguay, a lot of them are moving, like I said, they're like getting the residence permit so that they have the plan B, but I don't even want to call this a plan B. I truly believe that Paraguay is a great place to set yourself up because in Paraguay, look at the incentives you're getting. The people are nice. It's a quiet country, low taxes, low living costs. You can go on road trips or you can take vacations to Argentina. You can go to Brazil. You got really nice places around to visit. And this part of the world, and by the way, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm so interested in Paraguay. Paraguay is sitting on the largest freshwater reserve in the entire world. That's interesting. Like Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, largest water reserve on the ground in the entire world. This is fantastic. Like technically speaking, Paraguay could supply water, fresh water, to the world for over 100 years, to the entire world if they wanted to. But this is not the reason why European families are moving to Paraguay. You know, very few people know about that. But this is
Yeah.
actually a very interesting point, Aurora, because like what matters, like if you want to set up yourself, right, for life to evolve, what do you need? You need water, right? Water is everything, as much as everything is plastic these days too, right? Not as good as water, but it's like everything's plastic. But anyway, you get the point. Like people are coming over for different reasons. Some people are nomading and they're like, I want to just pay less taxes. I don't want to pay 30, 40%. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are paying between 20 to 30%. But even that's too much to them. So they're like, yeah, I go to Paraguay, I pay 10%. Huh, no problem. Let me go to Paraguay. Let me grab my backpack and I'm going to pay only 10% taxes. Fantastic. They grab their laptop, their phone, their dog, if they have one, or their girlfriend. They bring it over and then they set up life there, right? It's great. And then there are people with families, you know? And in Paraguay, there's so many communities where people can settle down. Just talking to my Australian client yesterday, our Australian client yesterday, you know, he's looking to live in a community. It's what he wants. He's like, I've been isolated in Australia for such a long time. I want to get out of Australia. And I can understand the frustration. Think about it. If you've been blocked in an island and they really couldn't get out for a long time, like the Australian government did not allow them to leave. So to him now, it's like, holy crap, I can get out. Let me grab my stuff, let me sell my house and get the hell out of Australia. And that's what he's doing. So like people have different reasons and aspirations, but from what I'm seeing from our clients, right, who are working with us, who we're helping move to Paraguay, like these people are like in a bigger urge never to get out because of the past crisis. Like the past crisis really accelerated this. Like people already had the thought, well, something can change. Like it's always like you have this thought in your head, but you don't realize it until the thought has come to fruition. Now that the thought has come to fruition, people are ready to jump on the ship and get the hell out. And who can blame them? Like what might come, which I'm not hoping for, but I'm seeing this dark reality, which I don't want it to become real. I don't want this reality to become real. But the central bank digital currency, which Paraguay is a long way of implementing because it's just a cash-based society. It's different. But the central bank digital currency that we're seeing in Europe, I don't think it will happen in America because there's a big force. It's like in American politics, it's very polarized. Like there's no unity, which is good in this regard. This time with the CBDC, it's good. And that's why I think it will not happen in America, or that why they will not be able to control as much, because the American government is broke. The biggest debtor nation in the entire world, in world history, biggest debtor nation in the world history wants to come up with a CBDC. Like people are raising an eyebrow or two, and they are like scratching their heads and they're like, why is this happening now? Oh, they're broke. They want to control. In Europe, I actually don't see so much bright light. It's like, think you're in a tunnel. It's dark. And maybe Europe is in a long, dark tunnel with no light. Because like people here, seriously, they don't question stuff. And that's the scariest part. And the clients that we're talking to from Europe that are moving to Paraguay, this is like their biggest reason is like the lack of questioning is the biggest reason. If you don't have a population who questions stuff, Aurora, you're in trouble. Because at the end of the day, what stands between the government and what the government wants to do is the population. It's the only thing that stands between the government and the end result. If the population doesn't question it, nodding their head and like, yeah, sure, let's do it. This is good for us, right? That's what the population does, right? Yeah, let's do it. But no questioning going on. So that's why people are going to Paraguay. They want to have a brighter future, brighter life, and they don't want to be surrounded by people that are nodding their head all day long. Yep. Yeah, government's good. Government's doing everything right. Yep. So that's like the main reason. So I feel like we have a good amount of information here for our audience. If anybody has any questions about this, as always, you're welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments below. We appreciate your attendance. And if you want to work with us, we would love to work with you. You know where and how to reach us. You can go to our website, nomadelites.com. There's always a link in the description, so that's right below the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, Aurora, and we see you next time.
Thank you.